Hey everyone, I'm Bill. I'm with Cali Moto TV. Welcome back to the channel. Today we have an in-depth view of the instrument cluster on this new Rocket 3. I've been able to ride the Rocket 3R, which is actually this bike. You guys have seen this video last week. And then the GT has also come out this week. And I love them both. My preference, I really like the GT personally. I like the feel of it. It felt definitely more roadster feel. It was more cruiser style. So I really like the GT. But one of the things a lot of people had asked me about is, what about this instrument cluster? The TFT instruments cluster's got so many different features and availability, so we really wanted to go through and show you guys that. So let's take a real in-depth look at this new Rocket 3 instrument cluster and show you guys what it's all about. All right, guys, so I wanted to do a very in-depth view of the instrument cluster on this Rocket 3. I've been on the GT and I've been on the R. We're on the R that we originally rode, test rode last week, but I just wanted to go over the instrument cluster again because it's so beautiful, it's so awesome. So real quick, on the right side, we've got our home button, which I'm going to zoom in so you're not going to be able to see me hitting the home button. So we've got our home button over here on the right side, and then over here on the left, we're going to be using the toggle button, which is down below, and the menu button, okay? So let's get zoomed in real nice on this instrument cluster and walk through all of the different settings on the instrument cluster. All right, guys, so let's go ahead and get the instrument cluster fired up. So very nice. When this welcomes you, it says, "Good afternoon, rider." We'll be able to change that in the back menus. But now that we're in the main instrument cluster, gorgeous, absolutely love this. So there's two different instrument cluster adjustabilities and two different settings. So basically 4 different instrument clusters available. So over here on the right, we're going to go ahead and first go into the back home main menu setting. In the main menu setting, I'm now on the left side, and we are going to be rolling down on the toggle switch. The toggle switch is going to be running us down through our riding modes, our bike setup, our trip setup, our displays, and our result reset to default. But our riding modes, we've got 3 different riding modes and then 1 customizable riding mode. Rider mode number 1 for the riders. This is your complete customizable ABS map or throttle response and traction control setting. Now we've got the availability between rain, road, and sport. Okay. Now when you go into the rider mode, you're able to pick whichever you want. So let's say in the main map or throttle response, we want to have sport throttle response, but in traction control, we want to have, we want the traction control off, right? This is not an option that you can have in any of the other riding modes. So in sport, you can turn it, actually, I think in sport, you can turn traction control off, but actually you can't. So in rider mode is the only one that you can turn traction control off, okay? And then of course back into the maps. So we'll go ahead and set this back up and set it up kind of, or back to reset for defaults, confirm. And then so in rain mode, you can obviously again change ABS, maps, and traction control, but you can only change from rain to road. The sport mode is not available in the rain mode, nor is the rain mode available in the sport mode. And of course the road mode, which is much more versatile, obviously in the ABS, all of the ABS settings are all road. They are all in road unless you turn the ABS off. In maps, in the road mode, you can go rain or sport. And traction control, you can turn on your traction control with rain or sport in the road mode, okay? And then of course in our sport mode, you can go and change your ABS, maps, and traction control, but you'll see that the only availability you have is road and sport, okay? So a lot of customizability and a lot of adjustability for your standard modes or your individual modes. All right. Bike setup, when you go into the bike setup, this is basically just allowing you to turn on and off some of the features that the bike offers, like the hill hold. Would you like the hill hold on or off? Now, it's automatically enabled. I'm not sure why you would disable it. The hill hold, you have to pull the brake very hard and let go. which engages it. So if you want to be able to have the hill hold, which I think is a great feature, then just leave that enabled. It's enabled automatically from the factory. Our indicators are on auto basic. Auto advanced is another setting. And then of course manual. This is for your, obviously your indicators. Will they turn off automatically, or do you need to manually turn them off when you turn the blinkers on right or left? So kind of a nice feature. And then of course traction control, you have enabled or disabled. From the factory it's enabled. I don't see any reason why you need to disable it, but if you'd like to disable it, you can go into the traction control. And then your bike setup for your services, you can set your intervals for your services, miles or dates, and there's your reset. So that's kind of nice. It looks like it gives you about a year, just over a year in time. So that's kind of nice. Okay, so that's your bike setup. Your trip setups. What your trip setups, I like on my Triumph 1200, I always have just one trip, and you can obviously reset that. You can have it in automatic or manual. There's a lot of different setups on how you want to be able to reset it or not in manual, or if you would like to display the second one or not, and do you want to display the second one. So I have mine disabled for the second one on the trip gauge on the main menu. So your trip settings, again, very versatile if you want to have one tripometer or one trip setup or two trip setups. The display, I absolutely love the displays. So you've got two different themes, theme number 1 and theme number 2, and then you have two different looks in each of the themes. So you have about 4 different gauge clusters that you can look through them. We'll get to that here in a second. Your brightness and your high contrast, so it's adjustable. We're in low contrast right now. So if you go to low contrast, you can change the brightness of the low contrast for your night, or if you do want to get into the high contrast, you can brighten that down a little bit. And then of course your visible trays. What do you want to have in your visible trays? So for me, I have trip 1, I have fuel status. I take out the intervals for the service because I don't need to see that on the main. And then your availability for your different themes and styles, and your contrast adjustment. Do we really need to have the coolant levels on there? Sure, why not? And you'll see this here in a second when we get back to the main menu. Our gear shift indicators, what this is not a gear indicator, it's a gear shift indicator. This is basically you're on the run-in mode, which is basically going to give you the telling you to shift the bike at a lower RPM. So the gear shift indicator telling you when to shift the bike. Of course, you can use user default. So if we want to shift at 6,500 RPMs, or we can change that down to be at whatever we want it to be. So that's kind of nice. And then you can disable it obviously also. And we'll see that gear indicator here, gear shift indicator. Now our rider's name, what's nice about this is at the beginning screen, I don't know if you remember, it said good afternoon rider. It will say good afternoon Bill, or whatever your name is. So that's kind of nice. Languages, tons of different languages: English, French, Dutch, Italian, Netherlands, Portuguese, Spanish, and I believe that's Swedish. So a lot of different availabilities on language. And then they've taken that also to you guys with units. So I think that this is a very universal cluster where they didn't have to give a Euro cluster and a US cluster. So we can change our distance from US to UK for miles per gallon, or kilometers in liters. So very, very nice that they give you that ability. Also temperatures, Fahrenheit or Celsius. And pressures, are you PSI, bar, or KPA. So very nice that they give you those different units. And then the clock availability, 12-hour, 24-hour, and then of course changing your hours and minutes. So, and our last thing is our dates, our date format. So do you want it to read date, day, month, year, month, day, year, month, day. So a lot of different availabilities there. And obviously we can change the year, month, and day. And we're back up to the top to the themes. So that's really our back menu. That's our home button over here, which is going to take you to this main menu. Hit the home button again, we're going to be at our main instrument cluster. Now this is where it starts to get fun because we can change the look of this. Now first let's go ahead and just switch to the right and switch through our different settings. Now these are the settings that we preset up and allow it to be up there. So we've got our tripometer with our miles here, and then we can go over to our miles, our fuel range, average, and our fuel consumption. And then we've got our temperatures over here, and then we can also go to our contrast. So if we want to go to a high contrast, so here's the high contrast. A little bit hard to see on the gauge cluster, so we'll keep, or on the camera, so we'll go back to the dark contrast, or you can be in auto. So right now it would be in auto because we're inside, the kind of lightens up. So I like that it gives you this feature over here. The Time Triber 1200 doesn't really give you that option to be able to keep it in dark or light. So that's very nice. And that's it. So then if on the right side over here, you'll see I'm going to hit the M button. The M button is going to take you through your rider mode. Now, if you look over here, we're going to see our rider mode is in rider, and the rider is the little stick dude, that's you. And the stick dude is going to be able to give you the ability to go through and be in road, or you can change down to road, rain in rain mode, or road mode, or road, sport mode. And then, so basically you select that and then hit the toggle button in, and now we've selected the sport mode. So now we're in road, sport, okay? And then back out of the menu, or you can just click the menu buttons, but the home button will take you back here. And then if we click over and we click the center button and we go, let's see, we're gonna go over to our themes because I want to show you guys the themes real quick. So you can see we've got our themes here. We've got theme number 1, which is called Chronos. And we'll select Chronos now. So you can see the instrument cluster has changed. Fuel's over here, and then our settings are over here. So you can see all of our miles per gallon and temperature and whatnot, okay? Or you can get over into the theme again and go into theme number 2, which is the quartz one. That's the one we were just in. I love the quartz one. And you can see the RPM gauge is over here, speedometer, and a lot of the different little things. Here's your gear indicator. So super cool. And then when you're in here, you have 3 different options of what you want to see on the cluster. If we want to auto hide all, so we're going to push and select that, and then give it just 1 quick minute, and then everything goes away, and just the speedometer and gear indicator are there with your fuel gauge. If you click the center button and go into 2, we can hide only the info, which is going to be to the outside, or excuse me, the middle section is going to go away there. And then number 3 is going to show all, so it's obviously going to show all of our information. So very nice. Okay, and so those are, and then of course if we go back into the chrono style, obviously we've got the chrono style, and again we can go and auto hide all, so everything's going to go away except for the tach and the speedometer here in a second. So it kind of opens up everything, and we just have our instrument cluster there in the middle, and then we can go and hide just the center section, which is probably where I'd be on this one because I like that side sections. So you'll see it opens up. And then of course number 3, you can basically show all. So that's it. And then of course we're going through our different menus. So hopefully that kind of takes you guys through and shows you all of the different settings that you can get through on this, because there's so many different cool settings that you can get into. This is my favorite here. So hopefully it's informational for you guys. Make sure you hit the subscribe button and smash that like button. Leave me in some comments down below what you guys think of this new Triumph Rocket 3. It's been a blast to be able to ride both the R and today the GT, and then to be able to go through this instrument cluster in depth has been really nice. So make sure you comment down below, but make sure you hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you guys next video. Thanks, guys.